I'm confused. No, really, your favourite podcaster has been having a hard time trying to work out whom to believe. On the one hand, Wikipedia, that fount of all knowledge, tells me that the China Railway Museum, which I visited not many weeks back in the northeastern outskirts of remote Beijing, should not be confused with the Beijing Railway Museum, which was opened in 2008 in the former Zhengyangmen East Railway Station of the Jingfeng Railway, just southeast of Tiananmen Square. Only problem is that the sign on the museum just southeast of Tiananmen Square says it too is called the China Railway Museum, while postings to a number of travel-related sites get both of them thoroughly mixed up, with photos of the outside of one coupled with photos of the innards of the other. It's enough to make you weep. Anyway, this past weekend has been totally grismal outside, with a flurry of snow and a grey, overcast sky that hardly tempts one to step outside the front door. But being the intrepid guy I am, I decide to brave the cold winds and make my way to Tiananmen, admittedly with the intention of going to see Chairman Mao's mausoleum. But Mr. Mao, it appears, has a previous appointment. Rumour has it that he's seeing his beauty therapist again, so his mausoleum is well and truly closed to visitors. Across the road, the sign for the China Railway Museum rings a clarion déjà vu, and I'm tempted inside its portals, if only to see what could be lurking on the other side of the walls. And this is where I now become doubly confused. For has anyone ever heard of a railway museum that has no trains in it? The more I discover about Beijing, the more you'd think I'd learn not to be surprised anymore. But not a single train, carriage, or even engine is anywhere to be seen here. This has to be a rail museum with a difference. The museum is actually spread out across 4 floors and charts the history of China's railways. Of course, like every museum in this part of the world, the walls are smothered in photographs, and though few of them have any translation beside them, they're still fascinating to look at. There are also intriguing little bits of trains, such as an engine whistle. While the regulations for a Qing dynasty railway company look like heavy reading material. I particularly like a ticket printing machine on display, though, together with some ticket stencils for printing off said tickets. Of course, though there are no real trains here, you would certainly expect there to be a number of models on display, and on this score the museum comes up trumps. There's even one of a steam loco named after Zhu De. Golly, it looks almost identical to the real train in the other China Railway Museum. And while it would appear that General Zhu De only had one train named after him, Mao Zedong had at least 2 named in his honour. Actually, Mao is much in evidence throughout this museum. There's even an original copy of the People's Daily, dated 1st of October 1949, for instance, with the great helmsman taking pride of place. There's even part of a clock that was used in the 1990s at one of Beijing's stations. How awesome is that? Even though there are no real trains here, someone has thought fit to install a life-size model of a small part of one of the new high-speed trains. But as we have all got used to small is beautiful by this time, there is a 1/10th size model of the whole train, or to be more precise, I actually count 4 such models of this train. Though if you miss any of them, you can always buy yet more train models in the museum shop, starting at around 500 kuai a pop. At the end of the museum visit, one is left in little doubt about the state of Chinese railways. Okay, they may not have any trains in their rail museum, but in this country there's always a reason to be optimistic.